is clad in big orange.
At Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
Tennessee Volunteers have wrapped up an SEC outright regular season title.
Officially live.
The SEC runs.
Just in the intro video right now.
Tennessee wins the SEC regular season crown for the 2nd consecutive season.
The 1-0. Indiana, right center field. Cross on the move. Walk it there. Tennessee walks it off. It's a mismatch. Deep green. Come on now. And don't connect. Probably driving this time. Indeed. But two-hand jam. Down the middle. Got it. On the fly. It's high and again. And he's going to take it. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Hey, how much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top, this is college football and it's absolute best.
This is college athletics at its absolute best, man. Unfortunately, it is a terrible time of the year. There is no college sports on, but, you know, we're here to talk about it anyway as we are starting the countdown to college football season. I'm Michael, my co-host Skylar, man. Skylar, how you doing after coming off of a pretty fantastic vacation, according to you, right?
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, yeah, we didn't go live again last week thanks to me, but yeah, I went on vacation. This is dead period. You know, we plan our vacations around Tennessee, so when they lost, I was like, baby, we got to go now. And no, it was a fantastic time. Tennessee Football 247 in the chat already saying what we all know, and that is 72 days until football time in Tennessee. And boy, are we looking forward to it. We appreciate you being here, being live, being locked in, ready to rock and roll. Michael, we got a lot to talk about, dude. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, so, you know, it is list season, but first off, we are going to give, I mean, I guess it is a list. We're going to give our top moments of the 24-25 academic season for Tennessee sports. Segment 2, we're going to be talking about some comments that were made this past week by Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia.
Who?
I don't know if that's how you say his name or not. It's and it sounded like a mouse kind of squeaking from the corners. So I mean, I don't know, but
Sorry, I just never heard of him.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna dive into all that and give you our reactions on those. And then segment 3, our top 5 hot takes of the SEC football season this coming year.
Ooh.
So
Okay, I like that.
So a couple.
I'm actually going to go off script on that.
That'll be fine. Yeah.
I've got like 2 right off the bat, but I'm going to think on those. So yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Right
Before we just jump into all of it though, Skylar, would you like to give us our presenting show sponsor?
I will. And I also want to shout out Abby Graham for tuning in. She was on TikTok, swapped over to the Facebook, said, hey, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. But yes, our presenting sponsor, as you know, is Chris Smith Insurance. You know, as a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he started his own agency where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Give them a call at 865-272-3387. And again, guys, Chris isn't just going to find you that cheapest rate. I know a lot of agents do that, but what you tend to run into when they do that is you tend to lose coverage. Chris is that guy that's going to find you the best rates with the best coverage, just in case that accident does happen. He's going to be there at your doorstep to help you through every step of the way. Chris, we thank you so much for your continued support of the Fanatics Show as our presenting sponsor. But Michael, man, I guess it's over to you. Give us our segment 1 sponsor and let's talk a little bit.
Yeah, so our segment 1 sponsor, you already know it is Optimal Asbestos Services. Optimal Asbestos Services offers detailed asbestos inspections and air quality assessments. Whether you're looking to secure your home or workplace, you can trust Optimal Asbestos Services to deliver thorough and reliable solutions. You can contact Jeff Mole at 865-223-3297 for your consultation today, or go on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So let's get right into our favorite moments from the 2024-2025 academic season. It was another very successful season overall for Tennessee athletics this year. You know, you had the football team make the college football playoffs for the first time ever. You had men's basketball make it to only their third ever Elite Eight and back-to-back Elite Eights. You had a revival of the Lady Vols basketball program, a lot of hype around that as well, making the Sweet 16, breaking multiple records along the way. You had softball make it back to the Women's College World Series, going to the Final Four, and baseball a little disappointing in, but you know what? How can you call it a disappointment when you still make the Super Regionals? And mind you, this is 5 straight years that they have done that, and Tennessee is the only school to have 5 straight Super Regionals. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can call it a disappointing end because of the expectations Tennessee fans have, but is it really a disappointment?
I don't think so. I don't think so, especially considering this ain't a baseball segment, but considering the fact that you are defending champions and you still were able to follow that up by going to the Super Regionals. Not a lot of teams are able to do that. Not a lot of teams are able to lose the amount of talent that Tennessee lost from season to season and still make a decent postseason run like that. So no, phenomenal run. Tony V's our guy, and I expect us to be right back next year. I already made some phenomenal moves in the portal to load up ready for next year. So yeah, I'm really ready for it. But who wants to kick this thing off? We're going from 5-1, right?
Going from 5-1. If you want me to,
I changed my order a little bit, just so you know.
Okay, yeah,
Because I just shot you like, I don't know. I shouldn't have numbered them, but I did. But yeah, I'm gonna start with I'm gonna start with 5. Are you gonna start it though? You made it sound like you were ready to go.
I was gonna say I'll start this one if you want to start the hot take ones that we have later on. So
of course, I got you, big dog. No worries.
So,
Michael's one of those guys, real quick. Michael's one of those guys who doesn't really do much without expecting something in return. You know, he's one of those guys. So
pretty
he
much.
sounds nice on the front, but he knows I'm gonna. No, I'm joking. Michael's a good guy.
Yeah, pretty much most of the time. So quick honorable mention, just got to throw out the OU game from this past season. Just the hype around that game with Josh Heupel going back to his alma mater where he won a national championship, just the storylines behind it, going out there and getting a huge road victory in that game. The environment was crazy. The game was awesome. So a quick honorable mention on that one there. My number 5 on the list, I'm going to go with the Alabama game. Getting the win against Alabama in Neyland. Just the way the game was back and forth, the defense that was played in that game. One of the few games where Nico took the team down the field. Obviously, he had Dylan Sampson there to help, but made the big throw to the end zone to Chris Brazzell. That ended up being the dagger in the game. I mean, obviously, later in that game, you had Max Gilbert, I believe, his kicker's name. He did make a field goal to put Tennessee up by a touchdown, but that gave Tennessee the lead that they would not relinquish. And then we can't go without talking about Will Brooks with the game-sealing interception on the final drive of the game. But it was awesome getting the second victory over Alabama in the past 3 years. That's number 5 on my list for the top moments.
Right on. Number 5 for me is actually same sport, football, but it is beating Oklahoma in Norman. That was pretty hardcore memory for me. That's first time visiting Norman. Thanks to a friend out there, Ryan Cawley. We actually had him on the show to preview that game. He invited me out there. I made the day trip. If y'all follow the TikTok, y'all seen. I flew there that morning, got there midday, got to hang out, tailgate, and then like the game itself was good. It wasn't necessarily the most exciting game. It was pretty much of a defensive slugfest, and we found out why. I mean, Oklahoma's got one of the better defenses in the country. We knew Tennessee did, and it kind of ended up being just that. And but to beat Oklahoma after the history between the two teams. I felt like that was huge and kind of broke the shackles, so to speak, for Tennessee to go on the road at night, get a big win, and a very emotional game for Josh Heupel.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Number 4 on my list, very recent. It was the last 2 1/3 innings.
There you go.
Of the Wake Forest regional championship game where we just got absolute maniac Liam Doyle like we have never seen. I mean, he came out of the bullpen, and from what Tony Vitello said afterwards, Tony did not send him down to the bullpen. He got
He
up
just went.
and he went down there, and he's like, "Look, I'm going in this game." And the fact that we saw so many people, not just Tennessee sports writers, but national sports writers talking about how much this guy loves his teammates and stuff, because this guy is going to be arguably a top 10 draft pick, maybe even a top 5 draft pick in this year's class for MLB draft. And the dude is going out there on a day that he didn't have to pitch after he already threw 6 innings, something like that, in his first contest of the weekend.
Yep.
Maybe 7 innings, something like that. But he decides to go out there because he wants to win that badly for his team. And then did not give up a run, did not give up a single hit. I think his only blemish was either a hit by pitch or a walk. And just, 5 strikeouts in 2 1/3 innings. Just unbelievable, the series that happened in that in the final part of that game.
I think the coldest moment there, and you've seen it go
Yes.
viral, is when the batter in one of the at-bats, it was a 1-2 count with 2 outs, and he calls time. And Liam Doyle, just in a most savage way possible, was like, don't meet at the mound. I am locked in. Y'all stay in y'all's positions. I'm going to wait on this dude to get back in the box, and I'm going to pump a 99-mile-an-hour inside fastball. Caught him looking, didn't he? Because, it was heat.
Yes.
It was gas. And
painted the corner there, and we can't say exactly what he said, but he actually looked at the batter, and to make it a PG version, he looked at him and said, "You're screwed."
That's pretty much what he said. And
Yeah.
if you're a batter in that moment and you see how hyped that pitcher is, how do you not expect a heater coming in, bro? I don't know, but that was a pretty savage moment. My number 4, I'm gonna go to the basketball court. I'm gonna go ladies. Ladies basketball cracking the top 5 moments for me, and that is the Lady Vols beating then top 5 ranked UConn and Paige Beckers, one of the best teams. Did they not win? Or they were very close to winning the Natty, weren't they?
They did end up winning it all.
That's what I thought.
South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. So we beat the national champion UConn Huskies here in Knoxville, TBA. The vibe was just electric. My company got season tickets to the Lady Vols game, and we went to that game, and it was awesome. I didn't realize how cool it was until you got there in that game, and UConn, Tennessee, Lady Vols, especially that rivalry that's there, right? From the Pat Summitt days, and to see the amount of fans in that arena for that game. And I have to credit UConn, because my goodness, did they travel to that game as well. But just the environment was electric. The game was amazing. And, Lady Vols got it done. I thought that was a huge moment and a big turning point for Kim Caldwell in her first year.
Absolutely. And without a doubt, the biggest win so far, the Kim Caldwell era. Sorry, I can't talk right now. But there's going to be many more big wins come in the Kim Caldwell era. But so far, this is without a doubt the biggest win of that era. My number 3, I'm going to the Tennessee-Florida basketball game at home this year, the one that they had to play without Zakai Ziegler. I don't know if you remember the sequence that started with Jemai Meshack on defense, getting a deflection. He's jumping out of bounds, saves the ball to Cade Phillips. Cade Phillips throws the ball up the floor to Bishop Boswell, who then turns around right after he catches it and just lobs it up to Phillips for the massive alley-oop slam. One of the best moments of the basketball season. I was so fired up after that. It took me quite a while to calm down. Just the teamwork behind all that and the hustle to make that play happen.
And what a huge get back game, right? You go to Florida, you lose by 30. It was ugly, basically a no-show, which this Tennessee team was prone to doing this year. Unfortunately, had about 3 or 4 games where they just did not look alive whatsoever. But to be able to respond and answer without Zakai Ziegler and without number 7 shoot fire.
Oh yeah, we were without Igor Milicic that game because he was sick.
Yep. So we were without 2 of. And our basketball team was pretty much only seven guys. So when you're without 2 It was a pretty big deal, and they still got it done, and they beat them badly. It
Oh,
was
they
20-point
dominated.
victory. Yeah, it was huge. That effort that you mentioned is something that was carried throughout that entire game, and what a response! Yeah, that was a huge moment, big moment for Tennessee as well. Shoot, my number 3 moment. I hate to kind of follow it up because you've already mentioned it, but it is the Bama game. Third Saturday in October, you get the win. In a year that I think really kind of burst the bubble for Alabama for sure. I mean, obviously they'd already lost to Georgia.
No, they had already
They
lost to
beat
Vanderbilt
they
in a
lost to Vanderbilt.
yeah,
They
in a
beat
3
Georgia.
yeah,
No,
they
they
beat
didn't.
Georgia.
Yeah, they did.
They beat
They
Georgia,
beat Georgia.
turned around the following week and got beat by Vanderbilt, then nearly crapped the bed against South Carolina before coming to Knoxville and getting beat by Tennessee.
That's right. But like the win was completely out of their sails after that, in my opinion, after we beat them. I loved all the memes that came out of that. Obviously, it was like Tennessee and Vanderbilt fighting over custody of Alabama after we both beat them. It was huge. It was a big moment. It's for Heupel. He's now undefeated against Alabama in Knoxville, which is huge. I mean, we got to keep we got to keep that rolling. It'd be nice to steal one down in Bryant Denny at some point as well. Maybe this year, who knows? But the environment for Thursday in October, there's nothing like it. Vol Navy was out in full force. Fans going crazy. The game was great. It was kind of like a complete opposite of the 22 game. A lot more defense, a lot less experience on offense for both sides, really. Jalen Milroe, obviously a fifth-year guy or fourth-year starter, but he had his issues. He also had to carry the team a lot. Like, I feel like he had to do a lot, and I think he wore that on his chest. But overall, it was.
I also feel like there was times that he did too much. That there
And
was things that his team could have done to help him, but he wouldn't allow them to help him. But you're absolutely right, though. He did have to carry that team a lot. But there's also times I felt like his teammates were able to help him, and he just tried to do too much.
But I think trying to do too much is like that's one of the consequences of trying to carry the team. Like, one play, an example, they did. I think it was like a quarterback sneak from the shotgun. It was something stupid, but like your two outside receivers jumped like a jump shot for basketball. Like they weren't even blocking or anything. They just kind of like, I don't know, that just look up the play. I swear I know exactly what I'm talking about. And we ended up stopping them on 4th down on that play. And I know that play went viral. Obviously, the wide receivers blocking would have had zero, I guess, to do with the result of the play. But I think it shows the difference in coaching that Alabama had or will have in years to come after Nick Saban. But overall, like, just as far as a top moment, having the whole family there, which my family is kind of split right down the middle. My wife's an Alabama fan. So it's always really sweet to get the win, especially after 16 years of freaking misery growing up in my childhood. So it was a big moment. You hit on all the high points. I'm just trying to think of something new to say, but I ran out. So yeah, beating Bama never gets old.
Yeah, absolutely. So my number 2, you've already touched on this one, but it is going to the hardwood. The Lady Vols beating UConn in Knoxville.
Cracking the top 2.
Absolutely, man. I mean, growing up, we grew up in that era. Now it was towards the end of the era of Pat Summitt in Knoxville as the Lady Vols head coach. But even as young as we were at that time, we knew the importance of the Tennessee UConn rivalry between Gino and Pat Summitt. And, people don't realize just how much the two of them hated each other. Now they respected each other as competitors, but they absolutely hated each other. And it really started with Tennessee getting Candace Parker because UConn was, if I'm not mistaken, UConn was at the top of her list. Of course, Tennessee was right there. And then Pat Summitt, swept in, made her pitch. And whenever she committed to Tennessee, Gino lost it, man. And from that point on, it was just an all-out battle anytime that those two teams were on the court. And the fact that, UConn has had Tennessee's number the last few times that they have played. Now, the rivalry has not been renewed in the regular season in quite some time. They faced some in postseasons or in other tournaments. But when this rivalry was renewed, we knew just how big of a game it was going to be for Kim Caldwell. And for Tennessee to go out in that game and get a win against a top 5 opponent in year 1 of Kim Caldwell, the way that they did as well, it was unbelievable. The atmosphere was just incredible. Vol Nation absolutely showed up. And you mentioned it. You can see on TV, there was a ton of UConn fans there as well. They knew just the meaning of the rivalry. But yeah, it was just a fantastic game. And it's just something that can lead into the future for Kim Caldwell as well, going forward. That's just a stepping stone that she can build on.
Yeah. Very unlike me, but my top 2 are, I'm gonna just go ahead and spoil it a little bit. My top 2 are going to be basketball related. So I was thinking about, and I know it's a hard memory. I was thinking about going football, and it's no secret I went to Columbus for the playoff game. I think that's still a core moment. I think that's an awesome memory to have.
But you can't say it's a favorite memory because of the results.
And that's the problem, is the result really does hinder that moment, but like it's still Tennessee's first ever playoff game.
Yeah.
And it's still that environment and the build up to the game, and then being there watching, the warm-ups and all that. Like that was still awesome. And honestly, the first half, like the first quarter started really bad, but like Tennessee still fought till halftime. I mean, they came back in the second quarter, went 10-0 in the second quarter to bring it back 21-10. And at that point you got the ball back at halftime after half, and you're like, hey, if you score here, we're pretty much back to an even ball game. Let's just go to work. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but like I'm saying, like with how bad that game was, it wasn't the whole game like that. Like, it still a core memory for me.
And you know what? With you bringing that up, what about the fun that we had in the build up to it here on the podcast? I mean, we had Chris from the OHIO podcast come on with us, and we had a
they
video
were so
there.
mad at Ryan Day, bro.
Yes,
awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah,
like,
I got to go on the live show with Eric and Chris and the guys, answer questions there. You got to go on a recording with them that they ended up posting later as well. Just the fun and the content that we had from that as well. That is going to be a core memory for me as well. And not just the game itself. I know you got to go to that game, so you get that experience, but just the fun that we had with the podcast during that time was awesome as well.
But number 2 on my list, and I think it's because of how much this game meant at the moment, but I think it was A&M. We were playing in basketball, and I think we were up by maybe 2 points with the ball in our hands, less than a minute to go, and we do an inbounds play to none other than Zakai Ziegler, and he pop shots a 3-pointer from the corner and drains it, just ice cold in his veins. I mean, to be honest with you, Zakai, I'd trust him in any moment, but that's not really the guy you were wanting the ball, right? Like, it's supposed to be Chaz Lanier. And
Exactly.
Zakai said, no, I'll take it. And then he drains it. And, I mean, with the most swagger ever, the most aura, he just kind of like, he's him. And that moment in that time, just the excitement, the way he put that game away was huge for Tennessee basketball to stay in the hunt. Obviously, Auburn kind of ran away with the SEC championship, but as far as seeding goes, as far as like seeding for the tournament too, like that not just the SEC, but trying to be that number 1 seed, that was huge in that moment, and that to me that was pretty fun. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah, and not only that, but just backing up in that game, you mentioned that you would have figured it would be Chaz Lanier taking that shot. If you remember, he scored almost 30 points in the first half of that game. Now, obviously, the second half, the game plan was different. A&M was really shutting him down, so he didn't get anything after that, or it was very few points after that. But, yeah, I mean, he had almost 30 points at halftime. He was Tennessee's offense in the first half. And then Texas A&M changed the game plan. Tennessee adjusted from there. And then you mentioned it, the dagger from Zakai Ziegler. That was a fantastic game. My number 1, and I've got a feeling that this is both of our number 1s. Number 1 on the list, the Jemai Meshack
It's
dagger
100%. Yeah, it's
The
100%.
dagger against Alabama at home in something that was never supposed to happen.
No.
So in the post game afterwards, both Rick Barnes and Zakai Ziegler both said that the play that was drawn up, I believe it was supposed to go to either Chaz or to Zakai, your two main guys. And if you can't get it there, now obviously Meshack was third option, but it was supposed to be you dribble up, get to half court, and then we're calling timeout to set up a play right there. Jemai Meshack said afterwards, he's dribbling up. He looks over to Barnes.
But he blacked out.
Yeah, he looks over to Barnes. There was nothing signaled or anything. So he's like, okay, I got this. And like you said, he said afterward, he just kind of blacked out. He's like, all right, this is my moment. Dribbles up, pull up, Drano. And all you see in the background during the replays is you got Rick Barnes and Zakai Ziegler. Both
They're
on
like
the other side of the
confused. They
court.
don't even know what happened.
Timeout. They're sitting there trying to call a timeout. Ziegler has no idea what happened until they start to just pound on Meshack afterwards in the celebration. But just absolutely the best moment of 24-25.
Yeah, I think that's unanimous. I don't know any Tennessee fan that would disagree with that moment whatsoever. And I think what makes that the top moment isn't beating Bama. It's who got the shot.
Yes.
And nobody more deserving than Jemai Meshack, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, he's a decent shooter. He just, I don't know if it was a confidence thing or what, but like you've seen him in practice. He's one of our better shooters. Just didn't pull it in a game. And he got around to it every now and again. You could, I think like the commentators have mentioned it, Rick Barnes said that he could only shoot it from the corner because I guess that's what he was really good at. But overall, man, like that moment, he looked over. But I think even if he's seen Rick Barnes say, kind of motion that play, I think he was like, nah, I got this.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he's seen that opening, and I don't blame him for being aggressive and taking that shot in the moment where it was a tie ball game. If you miss it, oh, well, let's go play some ball.
Yes, that was the big thing.
Yeah.
There was no downfall to him taking that shot. If he missed, it was going to overtime. And I feel like if it went to overtime, you were going to win. You had all the momentum in the game. If I'm not mistaken,
I'm glad we didn't have to find that out. Let me point that out.
Now, I agree with that. But if I'm not mistaken, Mark Sears at that time had 4 fouls, and I think
Bama was in foul trouble. But I think we were too, honestly.
I can't remember the other guy. Maybe it was Grant Nelson. I think he had already fouled out. But what about the series that led up to that, though, where Alabama had like a 5 or 6 point lead with a minute and a half to go?
Well, the defense stepped up. They got the 5-second violation call there in the corner. That was huge. And then I think they missed a field goal or a free throw or something that kind of helped us out a little bit too. And
but then you had the freshman that with the game tied, he tried taking it down the lane himself instead of passing to a wide open Mark Sears on the wing. And then Jemai Meshack ends up tying him up, gets the jump ball that allowed Tennessee to get possession there for that final shot.
It was huge. Alabama definitely choked that game, but I ain't mad about it. That was undoubtedly the number one moment.
I mean,
in 24-25.
Yeah, like you said when we talked about the football game, we're never going to apologize for beating Alabama. It's always a good day whenever that happens.
No, not all. It's finally feeling like it's supposed to feel where we pretty much beat them in every sport.
I mean, by the way, this past season, Tennessee went 9-1 overall against Alabama. That one loss was a
series.
Yeah, a baseball series where Tennessee still won the series 2-1. It's back to the way it's supposed to be.
My Dixieland. I'm sorry. What's next? Is it segment 2?
Segment 2. We're going to talk about some Diego Pavia comments from this past week. But before we get into that, Skylar, would you like to give us our segment 2 sponsor?
I sure can. It's P&L Business Services. We know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Trust the P&L Business Services today. Give them, you can go online, visit their website at pnlbusinessservices.com, but they are also located right here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee to help you out with all of your behind-the-scenes business needs. Thank you, P&L Business Services, again, for your continued support. Diego
All right.
Pavia. Who is this guy?
So he is.
Why do we care what he says? Do we care what he says?
Honestly, I don't. But you know what? We're here for the clicks. We're here to react to it and get clicks off of it.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because let the folks know what was said. Do we have a clip of it? Do we know? Do we have quotes?
I was gonna say I've got the quotes. So just some background. Diego Pavia went on the Bussin with the Boys podcast that is co-hosted by former Titans players Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. There was numerous different things that were talked about, you know, going back to his times in New Mexico State, going to Vandy from there. They talked about if he thought that the outcome of the Alabama game was going to be the same this year, NIL stuff, all sorts of things that happen. And he also mentioned that something that I won't say that I fully agree with, but I think that is something that's worth a conversation. You want to be going to the SEC, not entertaining anything with the Big Ten. You know, that those are some comments that can be entertained. I also do think that those are some controversial comments as well. But the ones that we are getting to, and there's 3 different comments here that we will react to. We'll start with number 1. He was asked about Vanderbilt trying to become the state of Tennessee's top program. Diego Pavia's comment, quote, Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee after this year. This is going to be the new staple of college football. It's going to happen here at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Slow your roll there, buddy.
You want my initial reaction to that?
Let's hear it.
This is a guy that loves the spotlight, right?
Absolutely.
And he's realizing he's kind of fallen out of it already.
Yep.
So he's got to say something to get right back in it. And that's all that is. There's no way he truly believes that. But he doesn't have to. All he has to do is say it. People are going to talk about it just like we are. And boom, his name's everywhere. And it's just ironic. The 2 comments. One, Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee. Oh, okay, buddy. What did Vanderbilt do in baseball, by the way, when they got the number 1 spot? If you remember.
They went home early. They were the first ever number 1 seed to not even make the regional final.
They didn't even make the championship game in the regional. That's embarrassing. You hosted a tournament and had to watch 2 other teams play for the championship. And that's just one sport. Basketball, they're nothing. They did split the series with us, but then we got their best center. So, Kerry, welcome to the good side.
Yeah, and by the way, in his comments after going to Tennessee, and I don't remember the exact comment, but wasn't it something along the lines of, you know, I bleed orange, or something like that? I mean,
yep. Now that's a comment that you probably shouldn't say before you even played a game for us, but I like the dedication, the commitment to coming to Knoxville. So, look, the football team, I'm kind of proud of little brother here, like, and as a whole, just because I do feel like they're way better than what they were. I mean, a lot of people kind of wanted them out of the SEC, and I didn't want that because I think it's kind of cool to be in a state that has 2 teams from the SEC in it. You know, it's kind of like Mississippi. Alabama has 2 teams. You know, there's only so many states. Texas has 2 teams in the SEC. It's kind of cool to be one of those states that has 2 representatives of the conference in it, especially in a sport like baseball when your 2 programs are the top 2 programs of the sport.
I mean, you bringing that up, I do have to agree. It was Barstool Vanderbilt put something on there during the College World Series, said, you know, you can tell there's no team from the state of Tennessee that's in the College World Series because there's no hype around it.
Right.
Literally this year, there was no hype around it other than the fact that Murray State was there, a number 4 overall seed from a regional, and then Coastal Carolina's winning streak, which, by the way, go Coastal Carolina this weekend.
I'm a Coastal fan.
Out there.
I'm a Coastal fan.
So,
and I love what the coach
that,
said before the Supers too. The Coastal coach said, like, look, we've won 23 straight. Like, we're not a Cinderella. And then they went out there and backed it up. They've literally swept their way all the way to the championship series. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, I think my initial thoughts of this first comment by Diego Pavia is he's kind of falling out of the spotlight in the offseason. And he doesn't like that. He wants to be in the spotlight. I think his NIL deal kind of has something to do with that, probably. But without a doubt, he's driving clicks, recognition to the sport, to Vanderbilt on the football side, which is huge, and that's something that I think Vanderbilt needs. I don't know what he means by after this year, because that kind of implies like once he's gone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I whatever. But I mean, I'm gonna take this with a grain of salt. I think it's just talk to kind of get back in the spotlight here. I don't think he truly believes those comments, or at least that comment.
I mean, I agree with you there. I mean, it's surely he doesn't fully believe. I mean, obviously he plays for Vanderbilt. He's Vanderbilt's quarterback. He's gonna say those things. Now, does he fully believe it? Who knows?
It's summer. It's June, July. It's talking season. Media days coming up in July. You're going to hear a lot of this stuff. Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen it from Mississippi State yet. Where this is our year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already said it for Tennessee. I'll be the first to admit, like, this is. I mean, even with Joey Aguilar, dude, give me all of it. Like, we're going to the playoff, like 100%. That's expectation. So,
yeah. But then I want to throw some facts out here as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Tennessee and Vanderbilt have been playing since 1892. They have played 118 times. From the years 1892 to 1927, Vanderbilt did own that series. They went 19-2-3 in the years of 1892 to 1927.
And then no, I'm joking.
I was going to say there's a man that some of you might have heard of. Don't know if you have or not. He goes by the name of Robert Nealand. That was hired in 1926. Tennessee, since that time, has gone 77. Let's see, gone 77, 13-2 against Vanderbilt. 77, 13-2.
And you can thank Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt for the 13 part. I'm joking.
Derek Dooley as well, I think.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, but
yeah,
Butch Jones and his best teams would always lose to Vanderbilt.
But it's one of the more lopsided rivalries in college football history. And since Josh Heupel has been here, it's been blowout after blowout. And it didn't start that way in the game this past year, as Vanderbilt went up 14-0 before Tennessee just absolutely dominated from there. But it still ended up being a 42-17 victory or 38-17, something like that against Vanderbilt. It wasn't close. And by the way, Diego Pavia, you only completed 8 passes in that contest.
101 yards?
Yeah, 101 yards.
Had a 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Gerard
McCoy's interception was insane. I know he had 1. It might have been 2. It might have been 2.
It might have been.
Because Gerard McCoy had the one where he fell, spun around on his back, laying down.
Yeah,
caught the ball.
In the end
and
zone.
then I think he airmailed one, and we caught one. I don't know who caught it, but yeah. So it might have been 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
it was a bad day for Diego. What's crazy about that stat line too? Diego did that bad with the lead. Yeah. If you remember, that game started with a kick 6, basically. I mean, a kickoff return for a touchdown. As a Tennessee fan with BVS, I was like, "Wow, this is how we missed the playoffs."
It started off just absolutely terrible. So you had the kickoff to start the game, and then
we went 3 and out.
Was it a 3 and out, or was it a Dylan Sampson fumble?
It might have been a Dylan Sampson fumble. It might have been. I don't know.
I think it was a fumble that resulted in Tennessee to give the ball up, Vanderbilt to score another touchdown.
It was literally 4 minutes into the game. It was 14-0.
Yeah. And then at some point again in the first quarter, Vanderbilt kicked a field goal to make it 17 it might have been 17-7 at that point. It might have been 14-7, and then Vanderbilt kicks a field goal. Then from there, Tennessee was like, okay, now we finally need to start playing.
Oh, they locked in 100%. Yeah. But
here's one thing I will say. Vanderbilt, I'm proud of you for finally figuring something out. You went 6-6 this past year.
Beat Bama.
You made a bowl game. You beat Bama. I mean, you're not the basement dwellers, at least at this point in time. You're not the basement dwellers of the SEC anymore. There are teams that are below you.
Enter
there's-
Auburn and Mississippi State
And Kentucky.
and Kentucky. Kentucky, dude. What a season.
Yeah.
What did they beat Ole Miss to start the year?
And they did not win another SEC game.
That's tragic, bro. That is tragic.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so you got
Mark Stoops, highest paid coach in the
yeah, you're not the basement dwellers anymore, but there is still a significant gap between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Tennessee is not going to let Vanderbilt run this state. Let me just tell you. And
let me say this,
Vanderbilt
even
is
if
sure
Tennessee-
not going to be the face of college football.
Even if Tennessee football loses to Vanderbilt, like one season, if it's this year, like that doesn't necessarily mean Vanderbilt runs the state.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the revenue differences between schools, like let's just be honest here, ticket sales, even if you maxed out Vanderbilt Stadium, what is it, 30,000? I'm joking. I don't really know their capacity, but it's literally nothing compared to Neyland.
I think it's only like 42,000, maybe 45,000. It's definitely
On top of that,
it's half of Tennessee's for sure.
and on top of that, their average ticket sale is pennies to need. Now, that's not something I want to brag about because like it does kind of suck that as a Tennessee fan, it costs a lot more to go to the game. But like overall, like that's what runs a state is how much revenue are you bringing into the state? How much are you bringing into the university and revenue sharing? Because that's a thing now. Vanderbilt ain't got that. When your best attendance rates is with basketball and baseball, and then when you rush the field at single file line, brother, sit down.
Hey, they did a little bit better against Alabama this year. They had two lines going down. It wasn't just single file.
That's because they upped their security. Because if you realize their security is what helps them get down, not prevents them or anything. It's fine. No,
Yeah.
What's the second comment that he made though? Like, obviously this went a little bit further, right?
Yes. So the second comment here, it was about if he and teammates talk about Vandy needing to be the brand of Tennessee. Diego's response, quote, "Everyone wants to come to Tennessee because of Nashville. They want
Wrong.
to come to Nashville, so Vanderbilt. And then when we have the most money in NIL, why not come here? We literally just have to win this year, and throughout the rest of the year, it'll take care of itself."
That's people want to go to Nashville for bars, drinking,
Yes.
go to Broadway,
They want to go to Broadway. They want to go to the Grand Ole Opry. They want to
Hit
go
up
to things like
Morgan Wallen's
that.
bar. Like
Nobody
that's
is
like-
coming to Nashville for Vanderbilt.
it's like Tennessee saying, everybody wants to come to East Tennessee for the Smokies and Dollywood. So come to Tennessee. Like that's not our pitch.
No.
People want to go to Knoxville because of Tennessee, period. Like
Yes,
nobody goes to Nashville and is like, yeah, I'm in town this week because I'm catching a Vanderbilt game. Like,
And there's a reason
What?
why Knoxville has been named America's sports city numerous times. Nobody's saying that about Nashville.
no, it's Music City.
Exactly.
It's fine.
And then when we have the most money in NIL, first off, and I
you
don't
give to the
know-
Whistler.
I was gonna say that's a
Sorry.
constant. Caught me off guard, but that was a great comment. But first off, I don't know the exact specifications behind it or anything, but Vanderbilt is a private school. As I've mentioned numerous times, the NIL works different at Vanderbilt. And they sure as heck aren't using most of the money at the university to fund their athletic programs first. And what was the projected cost of Ohio State's roster this past year? Was it
21 million.
Is Vanderbilt
And that
having-
wasn't even the most expensive. Texas was the most expensive at like 24.
Yeah. So is Vanderbilt gonna be putting anywhere near $20 million towards a football roster?
But
Going
Diego
forward?
Pavia is going to be the only millionaire NIL deal Vanderbilt ever has.
Yes, 100%.
Like 100%.
So where is this NIL money that he's talking about that's going to be
let me take that back.
the most in college football?
Let me take that back. Baseball or basketball, they may have one, but like football team, yeah. But no, I get that. I agree. But like we're not even stating the obvious here because like the NIL has to work somewhat similar with other schools because they are still in the conference and they got to run and operate kind of like the same as the other schools in a way. But you still got to be a freaking genius to get accepted into Vanderbilt, and you still have to go through that process, regardless if you're an athlete or not, to even go to the university. So Vanderbilt already has a challenge on top of getting recruiting done, and that's why you've seen so many. That's why you've seen James Franklin get out of there as quickly as possible, and he, in my opinion, was the most successful coach at Vanderbilt. I'm gonna just say in my lifetime. I do think ever, but in my lifetime, and he got the heck out of Dodge. Now Penn State's not a bad gig, but he also knew that like he had so many limitations when it came to recruiting at Vanderbilt, and that's what limits Vanderbilt. I mean, Vanderbilt's in the conference, kind of like walk-ons are on a team for a GPA. Like they just got to keep that average up, and that's what Vanderbilt's job is. So I mean, if they want to keep producing doctors that saves lives, that's great. But that's what you should hang your hat on, not being a cocky quarterback that goes 6-6 and thinks he's the Heisman Trophy winner.
So this is the last comments that I'm going to pull from this, and it's not directly related to Tennessee, but I do want to pull these up. So it was brought up on if it will be a disappointment if Vandy does not win the national championship. First off, Vandy, a national championship in the same sentence.
Why is this even being this is how I know it's all for clicks, bro. Why is this even being talked about?
Yeah. So Diego Pavia's response, for sure, you win 10 games in the SEC and you're in the playoffs. Then it's anyone's game.
But when's the last time Vanderbilt's won 7? Like, what do you mean? Whatever.
And has Vanderbilt won 10 games in a season more than once? Because I know James Franklin did it once, but I think the bowl game was included in that. So, and obviously you could probably go back to the early 1900s whenever they were dominating Tennessee and find it. But how many times has Vanderbilt actually won 10 games in a season? I know you can count the number on one hand. So the fact that you're talking about a national championship in football, and let's not forget about what Vanderbilt's schedule looks like this year.
Let's see. Oh boy, they won 7 games this last year. I forgot about the bowl game, but let's see. The last time they won 7 games was in 2013, where they went 9-4 in back-to-back years under James Franklin in 2012 and 2013. They went 9-4 back-to-back years, and then 2008 they went 7-6. But as far as a 10-win season, I'm at 1942, and I just don't see one.
So they don't have a single.
They don't have a single 10-win season. Like I said, they went 9-4 back-to-back years under James Franklin. So I'm gonna go ahead and stand firm on the fact that I do feel like James Franklin was absolutely their best head coach, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. Which is crazy only because James Franklin was only there 3 years. But in the 3 years, they went 6-6 with the Liberty Bowl. They lost in it. And then they went 9-4, where they won. They went 8-4 in the regular season, won both their bowl games. Yeah, like James Franklin came in, was very close to a 10-win. But no, this team goes 2-10 more than they go 9-4. It's
yeah, and Vanderbilt's schedule this year. I'm not going to throw out all the games, but you travel to South Carolina this year. A South Carolina team that's got a lot of momentum after last year. Not to mention, you got Georgia State coming in this year that you went to last year and got beat. You travel to Alabama this year for a revenge game that you know Alabama's going to be ready for this time. You've got LSU at home. You've got Texas on the road. And then you travel to Tennessee. Those games alone, if you go 1-4 in those games, I'll consider that a success for Vanderbilt. I mean, that's just where I'm at with that one. So the fact that you're talking about 10 wins and a national championship, slow your roll, buddy. I mean, those words go together in baseball sometimes for Vanderbilt, but not for football.
Clark Lee in 4 seasons has gone 2-10, 5-7, 2-10, 7-6. Do we know what's coming next? It's not going to be 2-10, but
no, it won't be 2-10. I do think that they can go 5-7 or 6-6 again this year. We'll get into our schedule predictions.
That's running the
up,
state, baby. That is right.
but-
That's running the state. Give them,
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk trash, but the kid's just saying this to get exactly what he's getting, and that is clicks.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk anymore about Diego Pavia, but do you have anything else before we move on to our final segment of the night?
How much do we beat him by?
This season?
Yeah.
It's in Knoxville, so we're going to beat them by at least 35.
Fair enough.
Joe Aguilar is going to throw for 450 yards, 7 touchdowns.
He gets pulled in the second quarter.
I'll go 8 touchdowns so that he breaks Eric Ainge's record this year. So
I wouldn't even be mad if our boy Joey Aguilar, because I could see him with this attitude, kind of like a Baker Mayfield grabbing the sack type gesture after. Sorry that's definitely inappropriate, but it is ever since that clip of Baker went viral. I think it was Oklahoma and Texas where he did that. And I was like, man, that is terrible. But I could see Joey Aguilar doing that to old Diego Pavia. That'd be funny.
I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
Especially after I believe it was 104.5 The Zone put out their list of the top quarterbacks in the SEC this year, and they put Diego Pavia at 3 and Joey Aguilar at 15.
15. That's wild. Joey Aguilar had statistically a better season than Nico.
Yeah.
Just had a lot of interceptions. But, I mean, one thing Josh Heupel's been proven to do is cut or coach quarterbacks to protect the ball. I mean, Hendon Hooker, real quick. Hendon Hooker was very turnover prone at Virginia Tech. He comes to Tennessee and just
5 total interceptions over 2 years.
In 2 years. Yeah, I was going to say, he just protected the ball. And so I'm excited to see what. Now, obviously, it's a shortened. I mean, he's only got summer camp and fall camp to work on it, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. What's next?
All right, so segment 3, we're going to talk some hot takes for the SEC this year. But before we do that,
Vanderbilt's going to run. I'm joking. No.
Our segment 3 sponsor, it is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at kaizenpainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. So,
2025 hot takes.
So before we get into this, I do just want to say this. These are things that we're saying could absolutely happen. It's a long shot. This is not what we believe will happen this year. But these are things that absolutely could happen. So,
wait, so it's something we don't have to believe?
We don't have to believe it.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you already mentioned it. Vanderbilt's going to run the state of Tennessee and college football this year. That's a hot take.
That was definitely a joke, but all right. The fact that he said both of that, not
just the state of Tennessee, but he said college football as a whole.
Yeah. But he's been playing too much NCAA 25 and probably went all the way and Road to Glory and thought he was, I don't know, just got a little out of touch reality there. But I will go ahead and kick things off here and say that Auburn will win the Iron Bowl.
I don't know if that's a hot take.
How is that not a hot take?
I think I believe that.
That's a hot take. I don't care what you say.
No, I mean, obviously, overall, it is a hot take. But
I mean, Auburn and Hugh Freeze has been god awful for the first 2 seasons,
but me personally, I don't know if that's much of a hot take because I think that absolutely could happen this year.
I mean, it is an Iron Bowl and it kind of is a coin flip, but I feel like Alabama's kind of found ways to win.
Yeah,
but I think this year Iron Bowl, Hugh Freeze gets it done.
I think that absolutely.
And I'll get hotter, but I just wanted to start with a single game here, so let's just.
And you know what? It's funny that your number 5 had to do with Auburn because my number 5 also has to do with Auburn.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and just full disclosure, Skylar and I today, we did go through our list of the top Tennessee moments together, not in order. but we have no idea what each other put on the hot takes. We
No.
wanted this to be off the real.
I didn't write these down. This is straight. I'm shooting from the hip here.
Yeah.
Like,
So I did write some down. So
nerd.
I've already mentioned that I think Florida could go 9-3 or better this year. So I put that down, but to add a little bit more,
Well, they will be beating Tennessee because we go to the Swamp. So
yeah. So I wanted to add a little bit more to this to make it more of a hot take. Florida and Auburn both go 9-3 or better this year.
Let me
And
add
I-
some spice to that. Florida goes 9-3, and Billy Napier still gets fired. I'm joking. I don't know.
But
Florida
I think
and Auburn going 9-3 is actually insane. I 100% don't see that happening. If this was the Josh Pates like scale, I give it a 9.5, a 9.5, because on the boldness scale. And the reason why is, have you looked? I mean, just a quick glimpse at Florida's schedule.
Florida's schedule is brutal. It absolutely
It's
is.
stupid. It is. They play Texas. They play, I think, Georgia, Tennessee.
So I've
Miami.
got their schedule.
They
I've got
play.
their schedule.
Yeah.
pulled up right
Read
here.
it out. Read it out. This is insane.
So they start off against Long Island. That should be a win. USF, I do think that's going to be a win. You know, Alex Golish, USF team, but I think Florida has got that game this year. Then you go on the road to LSU. I personally think Florida's going to go down and beat LSU.
And that's fine, but that's still a tough
Yes.
game. So
It is.
You got to work out the probabilities here. Even if they get the win, still a tough game.
It is.
This all contingent on Lagway being healthy the entire year.
And the offensive line being able to hold him up.
Exactly.
Which that's a very experienced offensive line this year, by the way. They're returning.
He
all
lost a
5
lot
starters.
He lost, wide receiver depth. Obviously, they've done great work in the portal, but still young and inexperienced. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So go on the road to LSU, then on the road to Miami in week 4.
That's tough.
Bye week before you host Texas.
That's tough.
Then you go to Texas A&M.
That's not great.
Then you host Mississippi State.
Easy. Should be.
You have a bye week before the cocktail party against Georgia.
That's
Then you finish off the season with a road trip to Kentucky, a road trip to Ole Miss, a home game against Tennessee, and a home game against Florida State.
I think there's 4 games in that list that I just don't think there's a snowball's chance in crap they win. And then there's a good 3 or 4 games that are complete toss-ups.
So which are the ones that you think that Florida loses? I'm
Well,
going to say Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Ole Miss are the ones that you're
That's
saying?
pretty much exactly. And I would even throw in Miami. If it's not Ole Miss, it's Miami.
So here's my thing about Miami. I don't trust Cristobal.
I don't either.
I don't
but
trust Carson Beck.
again, the way Miami's season ended last year, Mario Cristobal is probably thinking this is it. We just spent $4 million on a quarterback. Mario Cristobal's had some very questionable calls in his coaching career, which is why we don't trust him. But at the end of the day, talent is still talent on the field, and they're still going to play. Carson Beck also lost his girl. That's going to be some motivation. Boy's going to be playing now. He's going to be locked in. He's not chasing women anymore because he don't have a car. And sorry.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Carson Beck's vehicles got stolen. I think he got him back, but whatever.
So like I said, I don't necessarily believe that Florida is going to go 9-3 this year, but I think
it's a hot take.
Absolutely could happen. I think that it could. Now it's a long, long road to get there, but I think that it could happen. Now Auburn on the other on the other side of it before we move on, they've got a more favorable schedule. You play Baylor on the road to start the season. You play Ball State and Alabama before going on the road to Oklahoma. And I think that's a huge swing game on the season for Auburn. You travel to Texas A&M. Then you host Georgia. Then you have Missouri at home, Arkansas on the road, Kentucky at home, Vanderbilt on the road. That's going to be a tough matchup, by the way, according to Diego Pavia. Mercer at home, and then the Iron Bowl that Auburn gets at home this year. So I think that Georgia, that's probably going to be a loss. Then you've got, I'd say Texas A&M is probably going to be a loss. And then that Oklahoma game is going to be tough with it being on the road. Like I said, that's probably a swing game. And then the other one on the schedule that I would say is that swing, will Auburn be an 8-4, 7-5, 9-3 team is going to be the Iron Bowl.
You want a spicy hot take for my number 4?
Go for it.
Texas misses the playoff entirely. And
that's a hot take.
It's very hot because their schedule is very favorable.
Yeah.
But I think they missed the playoff entirely. Too much hype around Arch, and I just don't see it. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't. Truth be told, that's my number 4. I ain't got a lot of details to that. Just shooting from the hip here.
That could absolutely happen. I'm gonna pull up their schedule real quick.
Well, so they play Georgia. I know that they play A&M. I know that
against Ohio State. Yeah, they start the season against Ohio State. Then
Ohio State's probably not going to be good though, because like all the pressure's off Ryan Day's shoulders now. So
I don't know. I mean, it's also at the shoot. So,
yeah, that's fair.
So Texas does go on the road to Florida. I do think Texas is a better team than Florida, but you cannot count out Florida in the swamp, no matter who you are. I know it's more towards Tennessee, but then of course you can never count out the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. Kentucky will be no problem. Mississippi State, no problem. You got the Georgia game, and then as you mentioned, the Texas A&M game. So yeah, I could see Texas missing the playoff because if you lose,
I think they have the best odds to win it all too right now.
Right now they do.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you lose to Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas A&M right there, and you're 9-3, yeah, you've got a shot at not making the playoffs. So I do think that Texas has got the highest paid roster overall out of any team out there. So it's favorable for them to make the playoffs. But, it's something to watch this year. Is the pressure going to be too much for Arch Manning? Is the hype too real? I mean, we saw that last year with Nico. The hype was there, and Nico just didn't deliver. Is Arch going to be the same way? I mean, you never know. And Steve Sarkisian is one that until this past season, he really has not lived up to expectations to Texas.
No.
So I like that one at number 4.
Thank you.
My number 4, Alabama goes 9-3 or worse this year.
No, that's not a hot take, but all right.
So Alabama,
Vanderbilt's going to run the state of Tennessee, which means they're going to beat Alabama, right? So,
and apparently Auburn. So they played both of them this year. They're going to run Tennessee and Alabama.
No, so that actually lines up with what I think we've all been thinking though, because like if they lose the Iron Bowl,
you also got Georgia in there.
So Georgia, and then would you give Tennessee the nod there, even though it's on the road? I don't think so.
I would say either Tennessee or they traveled to South Carolina this year. And we all saw that game last year.
That was a 1-point victory for the Tide last year, I think.
A game that South Carolina should have won.
In Bryant-Denny.
Yeah. And then I don't think that Florida State's going to be back to where they were a couple of years ago, but you never know what Florida State's going to have.
Hot take. Florida State makes the playoff. No, I'm joking. No, I like it though. So 9-3 or worse for the Tide.
Yeah. And also you've got the quarterback.
Okay.
I won't say controversy, but the inexperienced quarterback with Ty Simpson.
Would you further that hot take to say that Kalen DeBoer gets fired if he goes 9-3 or worse and misses the playoff again?
That would definitely further that. I think that
let me
fans,
reword that and say, do you think he gets fired if he misses the playoff this year?
I think Bama fans would be ready to fire him.
But as an
athletic
director, is that how you want to run your business? Like
I was going to say, I don't know if the athletic director and the boosters and all that would pull that trigger this year. But if he does it 3 straight years missing the playoffs, absolutely, he's gone next year. But I don't know if this year. All right, hey, here's where it gets
messy. If they miss the playoff again and then Ryan Williams,
if he leaves,
transfers, gone.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I think it all depends on if it's 9-3 and Alabama goes again this year, then I think he stays. If it's 8-4 or worse that Alabama goes this year, he's fired.
Right on. Got to watch out for Oklahoma too, because they got them on the schedule. So no, okay, I like that. All right, so my number 3. from the hip.
All right.
No pressure. This will be the season. Mark Stoops gets fired. And that is a hot take.
It's
But he's
bad
got
that it is so bad that that's a hot take, but it's because he's making so much money and football is not necessarily the highest priority.
How
Kentucky.
KPD or State Patrol for Kentucky hasn't arrested this man for robbery after the last couple seasons? Like, he's...
It's bad that that's a hot take, but it is.
And it'll be when Tennessee beats them. Like, 100%. Like, walking off the field, he's going to be told, like, hey, you don't have an office anymore. Just go home.
Would it be that, or would it be... All right, does he get fired by the Tennessee game, or do they wait until Vanderbilt beats them on November 22nd?
Just because of Diego Pavia's comments, I kind of hope Kentucky beats Vanderbilt. But, no, I think it's Tennessee beating them because I think it nothing's more beautiful to see than Kentucky fans crying about something they really feel like they should be getting, but they're just delusional. But they get so mad because I'm pretty sure we go to Kentucky this year. It's going to be a night game. I think it's already like scheduled. It's a night game.
Yep.
They're going to truly believe they're going to win that game. And then we're truly going to win that game and walk out of their own stadium joyful again and again. And like, I've seen Kentucky fans literally crying because even in our down years, we find a way to beat Kentucky. And I credit Kentucky. They found ways to beat Florida the last 5 years or so, like 3 of the last 5 years. But for some reason, they just can't beat Tennessee. And yeah, I think Mark Stoops finally gets canned. And that is a hot take because, I mean, we've said it for so many years that dude had the best job because he literally only had to go 6-6. Like, their fans are content with that. And he can't even do that now. He's terrible.
So, we talked earlier how Tennessee and Vanderbilt is one of the most lopsided rivalries in the history of college football.
And then you looked up Tennessee and Kentucky.
Since 1893... Tennessee is 85-26-9 against Kentucky.
And again, you can thank Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt. No, I mean, like, Jarrett Garantano, I think even beat.
Jeremy Pruitt beat them. Now, you had the 1 year where Garantano threw like
3 pick sixes.
So,
yeah, but Garantano also beat them at Kentucky. It was weird. Garantano that was a weird stretch. But, hey, He's a VFL, all the respect in the world. He just had a tough time here at Tennessee. Clearly, not the good coaching that he deserved.
Yeah.
All right. What's your what? We're at the top 2, right? What's your number 2?
So this is my number 3 before we move to the top 2.
My bad.
South Carolina makes the college football playoff this year.
No shot. That is a hot take.
So South Carolina schedule this year. They start off against Virginia Tech. That's on a Sunday night. I believe that game is in Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. Then you got South Carolina State and then Vanderbilt to start the season. You travel to Missouri in game 4. You get Kentucky at home. I think you start off 5-0, easy to start the season. Now, playing Missouri on the road is not easy, but I think Missouri is going to take another step back this year with all that they lost. So I think 5-0 to start the season. Then you travel to LSU on October 11th. And another game that South Carolina really should have won last year. And honestly, I think South Carolina can go on the road and win that one. But that's it. That's a toss-up game. You get Oklahoma at home, and I think South Carolina wins that one. You get Alabama at home. I think you're going to have some South Carolina folks ready for revenge after last year's game. You go on the road to Ole Miss. That one could be a toss-up after the way that South Carolina just absolutely ran Ole Miss. Then you go to Texas A&M. I'm going to chalk that up as a loss. Then you got Coastal Carolina and then Clemson at home this year. And mind you, South Carolina has owned Clemson over the last couple of years.
No shot. I think you're forgetting that the head coach for South Carolina celebrates good punts.
That's fair. But I think that Lenora Sellers is a top 3 quarterback in the SEC. Not to mention what all they brought in around him in the transfer portal and what's returning.
Okay, Cam Ward was the number 1 overall pick, but guess what, buddy?
Yeah, but Miami didn't have a defense. South Carolina at least has a defense.
I'm just saying, like, no, I'm not that big. Look, even if Lenore Sellers is that dude, which I do respect the crap out of Lenore Sellers. I don't know if you've seen the comments and posts about where he had like a $4 million offer in the NIL portal, and he turned it down just strictly because he was happy at South Carolina, and I think that's huge. I think that shows a lot to the coaching staff and to South Carolina on what they're doing and what they're implementing. But I just, at the end of the day, Shane Beamer's a clown, just like Eli Drinks. And
I don't disagree with that.
And I don't think they are capable of winning 10 games in the SEC, period. Is that a hot take? No.
I just feel like the schedule is favorable for them this year to do it, along with what they have returning.
You said LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, Kentucky.
But once again, all right, so Oklahoma and Alabama, you get it home this year. LSU is on the road. Ole Miss is on the road, and Texas A&M is on the road.
And A&M. There's 3 losses in there.
I think they get at least one of those 3 games on the road.
And they might. But you're also you're also betting on them not dropping a game they should win. And I feel like Shane will do that. Shane didn't do that last year. Shane didn't do that last year, but the chance of him doing that again this year, I just don't see it. That's a good hot take.
And that's why it is a hot take, but it absolutely could happen. It is a long shot.
Okay.
Number 2.
Are we at the top 2 now?
We're at the top 2.
We are at the top 2. Hot take. Should I do something Tennessee related, or is that homerism?
Spoiler alert, number 2 is a Tennessee take for me.
Okay, then I'll go Tennessee take here. Which way do I want to go with it? Because I had like 2 different scenarios, offensive and defensive. Nah, I don't think I want to pull the trigger on that. But I'll let you know what I'm thinking. Boo Carter, Heisman candidate.
It's definitely a long shot. But, I mean, we literally just had a college football player that was a 2-way player that won the Heisman. And if Boo Carter's going to do that this year, he absolutely could be.
The problem is I don't know how involved. I think defensively, defensively, I think he is good. Like Gerard McCoy type good defensively. Like Gerard McCoy is obviously, I think ranked as the top 2 cornerback in the league right now.
But
pre-season.
That is the question. How involved is he going to be on the
But if he's involved in the slot with Mike Matthews outside, with I don't know who else on the offensive side, but like if he's involved, he's got the playmaker ability to be a Heisman. But I'm not going to go there. I am instead going to go with Tennessee has 2 first-round draft picks in the 26th draft.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Boom.
Yeah, I can absolutely get on board with that.
That's my number 2.
So who are you thinking? Because I've got a clear number 1.
I think we both have the clear number 1.
Jermon McCoy.
100%. You want to know who my number 2 is?
Who's your number 2?
I think because of the position, but it's a long shot because he's got 0 hype this offseason. But I think it's the edge, Joshua Josephs.
It's bad that we're both on the same page there because I was thinking Joshua Josephs would be the other one as well.
Yeah, I think it's Joshua Josephs.
Now, he's
going to have a ball every year, but he's been steady. Like his first 3 seasons have been rock solid.
If I had to go another route for a player that could possibly be a first round draft pick, I would say Bryson Eason. Or no, I'm sorry. Bryson Eason was this past year. He's gone now. Why do I have this past? No, that's right. No, he's a senior this year. Yeah, Bryson Eason.
But you want to know who's draft eligible that I think also could be a dog first rounder? Arion Carter.
That's a wild card pick for me. Yes, Arion Carter could absolutely. Now, I will
He's
say
he would be a true junior though.
I will say with how I'll say lost Tennessee linebackers kind of get in the shuffle of this defense, I think it would definitely be a long shot. I think he could be a mid third to fourth round draft pick, but to be a first round, I think he's just got to absolutely show up and show out this season. But he's definitely got the skill set, and he will be a NFL player whenever he's done in college. That's 100%.
And
but he's
wide
got to
receiver-
absolutely show up.
Wide receiver has a chance to get drafted. I don't think Brazel's first round material, but if he pops off, has a 1,000-yard season, who knows? But Brazel has all of the tangibles that you want. I mean,
yeah,
we'll just kind of see. If Carter can stop getting lost, he'll be great. Yeah, and that's exactly what Michael was saying. What's up, Dalton, man? It's good to have you here. I'll be seeing him in the morning. And yeah, Arion Carter, and I think it's really just, you've seen him play great sometimes. I mean, think of Florida. He got the pick right there. He floated back in coverage perfectly, read the quarterback's eyes, picked off DJ Lagway, was really a tipping point in the game. But I love our linebackers in the sense of in the rush game. I don't think we've had linebackers fill the gaps as well as we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. Just absolute aggressiveness, the blitzing that we do with them. I would like a little bit more creativity there. But overall, Arion Carter, I mean, you look at him on paper, that's a dude. I mean, he's a dog.
Yeah, absolutely. So my number 2 on the list, as I said, it is also Tennessee related. Tennessee goes 11-1 this season.
See, I wasn't going to do that because I didn't want to get hit with the, like, oh, you're just being a homer. And because I can see the comments right now just flooding in like, bull crap. I mean, it is a hot take. So
I was going to say that. Like, that's why I said it, because it's a hot take.
Tennessee ain't going 11-1, and I'll tell you why. Josh Heupel keeps losing games he's not supposed to lose. Now, this year kind of shapes up great for him, but is it going to be Florida on the road? Is that even a game you would consider one that you're not supposed to lose, considering we haven't won in the Swamp since 2001?
Look, I've already said it on the podcast here before. There is 4 things that Josh Heupel has to do this year to have a undefeated season.
And 3 of the 4 is something that's never been done, right? Is that where you're going with this?
Yes, 3 of the 4 is something that he has not done.
It's either beating Georgia.
Well, actually, no. So all 4 of them he hasn't done.
It's either beating Georgia.
You've got to beat Georgia, number 1. You've got to beat Alabama on the
or
road.
Florida on the road.
Yeah. I was going to say number 3 is Florida on the road, and then number 4
is losing that game.
Yes.
Which
you have to win all the games you're supposed to.
Which this year, I think the only road game that is, other than Florida, but that's already taken, is Mississippi State.
Yeah, because Tennessee's going to Lexington and beating Kentucky. There's no question
so
about that.
It's really then you got to pivot back to who's your home games. Yeah, Kentucky. We're not losing to Kentucky. It's Oklahoma, isn't it? Like, as far as like a pivotal game in the season, it's Oklahoma.
That would have to be the game, because I don't think that with the revenge factor that Tennessee is going to lose to Arkansas at home this year. Oklahoma would have to be the game. But sitting here today, I don't think that would happen. But yes, that if there's going to be a game, it would have to be the Oklahoma game.
All right, I like it though. 11-1. Shoot, that's SEC championship, dog.
Exactly. And I do think that Josh Heupel can do 2 of those things that we mentioned. I think that he can, obviously win all the games he's supposed to, and then win one of those 3 other games that we talked about. But to do 3 out of the 4, it's going to be tough. Now, it can happen, absolutely. But man, everything would have to go right for Tennessee this year.
11. Sorry.
But
you know, now that I've written that down, because you got to write it down. If he does that with everything that happened in the offseason, I will find out what Nico's phone number is, and I will call it.
Which the Tennessee fans know what his number is.
Oh, we know how to find phone
it.
numbers.
Yeah.
If
you remember Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett knows all about it. We actually got our freaking teeth knocked in after that. But it's still funny doing it. I will find Nico's number. In fact, I'll probably find his dad's. Nick. I'll find his dad's number.
What's up, Nick?
I'll be like, hey, buddy, I just want you to know it's not happening from this side. I just want you to know, it ain't from us. That would be insane. I think that would be awesome. It is a hot take because I don't think it's happening.
But I do want to throw myself a little bone. I absolutely hope that happens this year because if you remember last year, I gave a hot take about Tennessee that came true, just not in the way that I thought it would. I gave the hot take that Tennessee would not have a 1,000-yard receiver, but I said that it was going to be because Nico shared the ball with so many receivers that you're going to have several around 900 yards. That didn't happen. But
it's because he missed every wide open deep shot like Joe Milton, and he ran out of bounds on the last play of the game like Joe Milton. It's funny how you learn from your teammates. It's funny. No, all right, that's a good one. That's a good one. My number one hot take of the year of 2025, football related. The suspense is killing me. I'm not going Tennessee here. I don't think. No, I'm not. Hot take.
All
right. SEC doesn't win another natty again.
I don't disagree with it. I really don't.
Dang it. That's not a hot take then. I don't think they do. Okay, let me further that. No, I can't say that because the freaking conference realignment. I was going to say Big Ten ain't going to win it either, but that's not true because this team is now in the Big Ten. Damn. I'll just go out and say it. Oregon's winning the natty this year. That's my hot take. I guess that's a hot take. Yeah, there we go.
I mean, I do feel like that would be a hot take, especially after the team that they had this past year that should have won it.
Oregon's
until
winning.
You just got boat raced by Ohio State. I mean,
yeah, Oregon's winning it.
Yeah,
Big Ten's going to be all beefed up because they've won the last three and SEC hasn't won. But yeah, I think Oregon's winning the natty. That's my hot take. That's my number one.
That's a good one.
Texas record, dude, 9-3. They're garbage. They're going to miss playoff. That was that was my number 4, wasn't it? Or was that my number 5? I can't remember. But I said Texas was missing the playoff entirely.
Yeah, that was your number 4.
Yeah, Tanner. Sorry, on the TikTok. Yeah, I said Texas is going to miss the playoff entirely. That's a hot take, not necessarily something I'm betting on. But whatever. You can clip it up however you want. Whatever drops clicks, fine. Call me Diego Pavia, honestly.
My number 1 hot take in the SEC this year.
How did you keep a straight face? I'm sorry. No, take 2. All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm rubbing my hands together on this one because it's steaming hot.
Yeah,
it's a 2-parter. Garrett Nussmeier gets benched before season end.
Oh, this is LSU.
And Brian Kelly gets fired at the end of the season.
Oh, Brian Kelly gets fired. Not gonna happen. I like that. That's not happening. His buyout's like more than Jimbo Fisher's was at A&M right now. It's no shot.
Yeah. That's why it's a hot take. I think that Garrett Nussmeier gets benched before season's end and Brian Kelly gets fired.
See, the Nuss bus getting benched, in my opinion, is not.
That was not a hot take.
Yeah, that's not so much a hot take.
There is a reason.
Only because he's like kind of inconsistent. There's games he looks phenomenal. There's games he looks rather garbage.
And his own head coach even said that one play he can throw it on a dime, could not be a more perfect throw. And
right.
the next throw he's throwing into the first row of the bleachers.
It's the exact same situation at A&M with that freshman quarterback they had last year. I can't remember his name. Huh?
Marcel Reed.
Marcel Reed looks phenomenal sometimes, like out of this world, but then like looks terrible other times. So no, Nussbus getting benched isn't necessarily the hot take I'm looking for, but Brian Kelly getting fired. Now, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in the offseason. We didn't have a single firing in the SEC this last year.
Yeah.
Which makes me think shots are about to be fired left and right this year.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw
Billy
this in
Napier goes 6-6 again. Gone.
I'm gonna throw this in here because we've discussed it before. But if we had to set the total right now,
We did 3.5 last year.
I was gonna say over under how many head coaches in the SEC get fired at the end of the year. I'm gonna drop it down. I'm gonna say 2.5 this season.
Oh, then it's over. 100%. We've already named a couple.
Mark
Stoops, Brian Kelly, if we're going that route. Hugh Freeze.
I don't think Hugh Freeze.
Clark Lee. God forbid Clark Lee with Diego Pavia goes 5-7 or worse.
But it's Vanderbilt. Here's my three.
They're supposed to run the state, dude. Like, come on.
All right, if we're going with 3, I think 2.5 is the number, honestly. It could either be 2 or 3 firings. But if we're going with 3, it's obviously Mark Stoops and it's Brian Kelly. I'm going Brent Venables.
And that's another one. Brent Venables is a great pick because, let's be honest, brother's underachieved every single year he's been at Oklahoma.
Yes.
Every year. He goes 6-6. I'd even go 7-5.
God forbid that he goes 5-7.
Oh, yeah.
Which could happen.
That's another one. Okay, hold up. Let's do the math here. I'm going to throw Billy Napier back in there because even though there's a lot of hype around the Florida team this year,
and
he goes 6-6 again.
There is one.
There's no way Florida puts up with it.
And there's one name neither one of us have mentioned yet that is still on a hot seat, and that's Mr. Sam Pittman down there in Arkansas with his cold beer.
Yep. So Billy Napier, Sam Pittman. I'm gonna throw in Clark Lee, LSU,
Brian Kelly, Mark Stoops, Brent Venables.
He's Mississippi State's head coach.
That's,
Duke, not Duke's.
You would have asked me. Jeff Lebby.
Now
I think I'm not going to throw him in there because this is his
second.
They
fired. No, I don't care. They fired the one dude after 1 year.
Yeah, but that was a mistake to hire him or promote him anyway.
Oh, then it's a mistake if you go 2 years at 4-8. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. There is, off the top of our head, there's 5 or 6 coaches we can sit here and pick that say, hey, if you underperform this year, it's bad news bears.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like it. Hot take.
Yeah. Brian Kelly
gets fired.
Yeah, Brian Kelly gets fired along with Garrett Nussmeier getting benched, and LSU doesn't have the easiest schedule. They start off the season against Clemson, and just because of recent trends, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my money is going to be on Clemson at the start of the season in that game because opening weekend games for LSU have not gone well over the last couple of seasons. So, I mean, you played
Brian Kelly gets fired after week 1 after losing his 4th in a row, his 4th opener in a row.
When you go on trends like that, my money's going to be on Clemson in that game. You also got
Clemson's not all, okay, but let me say this though: Clemson hasn't necessarily been the best game 1 team either. I mean, think of Duke. Was it Duke Clemson very first week? That was my upset pick of the week. I think it was both of ours upset pick of the weeks. And Duke literally won it. I don't know. Clemson's not necessarily the best either. But
if we're going with a college football hot take, though, Clemson is at least making the Final Four this year of the college football playoffs.
Not the Final Four. They might make the playoff again, and they might deserve it this time rather than just winning the ACC championship. You can call that deserved if you're not, but they kind of got gifted at the end of that game anyways. Miami's terrible, but
LSU schedule. So they start off against Clemson.
Yeah,
I believe that's in Atlanta. It could be in Death Valley or at Clemson because both of them are Death Valley. But start off against Clemson. You do have Florida in week 3. You do get that one at home though. You go on the road to Ole Miss. You host South Carolina. You host Texas A&M. You go on the road to Bama. And you finish off the season on the road in Norman. Those are your tough games on the season.
Yep.
I can see 8-4, possibly worse. Especially if you don't get good quarterback play from Garrett Nussmeier.
I can't get over the 11-1 Tennessee take, man. If that happens, Joey Aguilar is a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah. If Tennessee goes 11-1, that means Joey Aguilar has thrown for at least 3,500 yards this year.
And Peyton Lewis is that dude. I'm a big believer.
I'm a believer in Peyton Lewis, but I just don't think you're going to have one standout back. I think you're literally going to have a three-headed monster that's going to be pretty even overall between Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop,
Star and
yes, oh shoot, what's his
Star
name?
Thomas? No,
It's not Star Thomas. It's I've got the roster right here.
It's a transfer.
It's a transfer from Duke. Where is he at? Oh, it is Star Thomas. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you were right. But yeah, I think it's going to be that three-headed monster right there. That's going to be very close overall in yards. Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, and Peyton Lewis. If I had to choose one that's going to have slightly
Deshaun
more
Bishop
yards,
probably has the best work ethic.
But I think that Peyton Lewis is probably the best back in that room.
Just built for it. Like ever since he stepped on campus, like he looks the part.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Good hot take segment. I'm a little excited. Now this is a little bit off script. We kind of wrapped up the show here, but it's about prediction season.
It is.
When are we going to start that?
So I've got to sit down this evening and figure out the exact calendar, because we're going to try to time it up just like we did last year, to where the week that we make our first predictions, we're going to do our final position preview and Tennessee schedule prediction. So we're going to time it up to where each week we're going to have a position preview and 2 schedule predictions. So I'm going to get on that tonight and figure out the exact timing of it, but I think we're probably going to start that in the next week or 2.
I love it. By the way, for y'all that are tuned in or maybe new to the show, the reason why the show got started is actually Michael and I. It's a little competition in football season where we like to predict all the SEC games. Whoever's got the best record wins at the end of the year, and the other guy's got to pay up. And Michael's got a lot to prove this year. We're in year 3, going into year 3, and Buddy is Owen. Kind of changed his name on the birth certificate. Owen 2. So he's got a lot to prove. Last year was very close, but he decided to carry it into the playoffs, where I kind of had a nice little comeback win there, and he's still so mad about that.
I am, but you know what? It's fine.
It beats me in March Madness, so it's fine.
Yeah, but you know what? All listeners, help us out a little bit. Decide what should be on the line for this season.
Oh, we're gonna leave it up to them.
I was going to say, we can decide. What we need to do is have the listeners decide, put in suggestions, and then we decide from them.
I like that idea. So just to give you an idea, this last year, and we just did it, but it was a round of golf.
Yep.
Something kind of low budget. Like I ain't like trying to demand this, $1,000 ticket or something. Like no. There's something friendly, funly. What?
Skylar, I need you to go out and buy me a new truck. So that's.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what it is? You can crap in one hand, and you can and see which one fills up faster. All right.
Yeah. But no, year 1, it was a meal for the other person and their wife. And then year 2, it was the golf round. So let us know what you think should be on the line for this season. Looking forward to that again this season, though. You're not.
I am too, because whatever we choose, it's coming to me. So
you're not going to win this year. So real quick,
the beard's on the table. Oh shoot! Dalton Boatman comes in starting strong. I like that idea.
I don't.
I do. I like that idea.
I've got such a bad baby face, and I think my wife would kill me if I shaved it off.
Okay, mine would, but that's why I think it's a good. I think it's a good one. Look, We're gonna think on this, Dalton. That's a great first suggestion here.
I mean, honestly, yes, it is. But I'm
let me-
a little bit nervous now.
I haven't seen my chin, I think, since 2019.
My wife tunes in and says definitely not the Bears.
Hey, bro. She already knows. She already knows you would be losing. That's crazy. All right. No, keep bringing in the suggestions. We will. I like the beards. That's a good idea. I've been working on this one for a long time. So, nah, that's a. Boy, I'd be so analytical in my picks now. I'd be like, making a putt in the Masters. I'd be taking like 20 minutes before every pick, bro. Anyways, I love this. Great show tonight.
Yeah. So last day before we close out, we do have times for Catherine
Now my wife's in. You're supposed to have faith in me, babe. What are you talking about? Whatever. It's fine.
So last day, we do have times for each of Tennessee's football games this year. Not all of them are set times. So the Syracuse game is set. That is opening weekend, 12 o'clock Eastern on ABC. ETSU game, that's going to be the SEC Network Plus game. That is at 3:30 Eastern. The Georgia game is going to be at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. And the UAB game is going to be at 12:45 Eastern on SEC Network. So the first 4 games of the season are all locks for the time and the network. Mississippi State will be a flex game. That means it can either be an afternoon or an evening game.
But it won't be a noon game.
Will not be a noon game. Matter of fact, there's only 2 noon slots that Tennessee has this year, and they're in the first 4 weeks of the season. So Mississippi State, that's an afternoon or evening game. Arkansas, same deal, either a afternoon or evening. Alabama, same deal, afternoon or evening. Kentucky is confirmed a night game. So that's either going to be on ABC, likely not, because that's going to be for the game of the week. ESPN or SEC Network.
Kentucky will never be on the game of the week.
No, will not. Oklahoma is going to be a flex game, so either afternoon or evening. New Mexico State does have a confirmed time, 4:15 Eastern time on SEC Network. Florida will also be a flex game, so that will be either afternoon or evening. Vanderbilt is an afternoon game, so that means it's either going to be on ABC in the afternoon, ESPN in the afternoon, or SEC Network in the afternoon.
Am I gonna have to buy you some trimmers?
No.
Like a zero guard, like electric trimmer?
I mean, I've got one.
I'll let you keep the
it
mustache.
doesn't ever get used.
I'll let you keep the mustache.
I'd rather get rid of
he
the
did
mustache.
he did say beards. So like
I'd rather get rid of the mustache and just leave this right here on the chin.
no, beard's got to be gone. I got to see. It's fine. It's cool. Goose up here doing the Lord's work on the TikTok, man, just liking it up. Would appreciate you if you went to Facebook or YouTube or it's fine. It's whatever. If you're listening, we appreciate you guys. Keep sending in those suggestions on what the prize or punishment should be for this year's little competition between Michael and I and the SEC record predictions. So, this is not based on the preseason, by the way. The preseason is just how close we get. Our actual record will come from the preview shows that we do every week, where we then pick who our winners are, kind of just like your typical game day shows, right? Where they pick the games before the games are played. That's kind of how we run the show here. That's how the show got started. And then because of y'all support, we decided to go year round. And because of going year round, we ended up becoming a national champion in the first 2 years of doing this show. So now it's almost like a thing, like, not that we're stitious or superstitious, but it's kind of like we got to keep going. So no, we appreciate you guys' support, and we are going live. Today was Friday night, but from now on it is going to be Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, as long as I stop taking vacations. So
yeah, that's what it's all contingent on.
Michael's such a father. I mean, his family went on vacation. He stuck behind just because he wanted to be on the show, but no,
in fairness, it's because it was either go on vacation or not lose my house.
That's right. No, I got you.
But no, appreciate everyone that tuned in tonight. On this night that we normally don't go. Also, a shout out to the TikTok viewers tonight, as we were live on TikTok tonight as well. Might not do it every week, but plan on trying to do it more often because we do have quite a few people that watch some of our videos that we put on later on TikTok. So a shout out to our TikTok viewers as well. If you don't mind, go over to the YouTube and give us a like and a subscribe there, and go to Facebook and like the page there as well. Just want to make mention, we are the official Tennessee podcast of the College Huddle. Make sure that you go to thecollegehuddle.com and you can check out over 80 plus podcasts of just people like us that are big fans of their respective schools. That most of them go just during football season. We're one of the few that go year round, but you can check that out as well. Go to the Twitter and follow the College Huddle there, as well as on the YouTube page. And then, as you see right here, check out our social pages and the website. I am going to start posting some articles coming up on the website, so be sure to check out volfanatics.com for some of those articles. Skylar, you got anything else before we close out, man?
Diego Pavia for Heisman.
Diego Pavia for Heisman.
Go Big Orange.
Go Big Orange, guys.